because I didn't want to waste money applying to so many schools. There's something called an application fee. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the graduate school process. So in case you didn't know, I am in graduate school and I wanted to share some of my knowledge with you. I'm doing a master's degree in engineering management and I started that in August of 2023, but I started process in 2022. So I want to share with you what I did as well as what you can expect if you're trying to pursue your master's degree. So let's get straight into it. But before we do, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Let's get straight into the graduate school process. So the first thing you want to do is research the program that you want to do. What did you do in your undergrad? Do you want to stick with it or pivot? Now with the engineering management program, for example, you had to have had your degree in some form of engineering, specifically electrical, which is what I did for my bachelor's degree. You could have done computer engineering, I think some mechanical engineers, but it's limited. You can't just be like a marine engineer and then do your degree in engineering management, only because the coursework is not geared towards that. So it's definitely something that you need to research about sticking it through or pivoting. The reason why I didn't double down on electrical is because I didn't think I wanted to go into that niche. I wanted to broaden my view as an engineer and look into other types of engineering, specifically because I don't even work in the niche of electrical engineering. I use that as a basis for my system safety engineering, and knowing that I want to go into management in the future, having a degree in engineering management was a great way to go. I talked to managers, mentors, and people who are in my field and then had their perspective on it before making this decision. But you certainly want to research just so that you don't jump into a degree that you think you would like, but then you will end up having no interest in. Having a proper master's degree is very imperative to the career that you want to go toward, especially if it's in a field that typically relies on your education, like being a doctor, being a lawyer, engineering. So I started doing this research after I graduated in fall of 2022. I thought I was going to do double E again, but then by November, December, I changed my mind. The next thing you want to do is prepare for any exams that you'll have to take. The GRE is very specific for a lot of graduate schools. But with that being said, I did not take the GRE because of my GPA. I had a super high GPA with my undergraduate degree, so my school allowed me to not take it, which was great. And I think some schools also waived it after the pandemic. But if you do need to study for the GRE, because I think a lot of times you have like a below a 3.5 or maybe a 3.7 GPA, I'm not sure, you would have to take the GRE. So go ahead and start studying now. The book is like this thick. I feel bad. I'm so glad I didn't have to study for it. But you have to study for it and then pass with flying colors, or at least, you know, whatever your school determines is a good score. But prepare for it time after time. Don't rush to do it at last minute, but start preparing for it gradually. And then when you're ready, you will find yourself being in a good place to take it, and then you're gonna pass it without having to take it multiple times. I mean, if you have to, that's okay as well. But just prepare for it so you don't have to waste money in order to take it, because it costs money. And then after you get your score, or during the time you're studying, also start gathering materials. Even before I found out the school I was going to apply to, I started crafting my personal statement, and that's one that a lot of schools ask for. So also get your transcript from your undergraduate school, get your letters of recommendation, or at least tell professors in advance or people that you want to send you a letter of recommendation. Tell them in advance what you want to do, and you know, make sure they know that you'll be expecting a letter of recommendation. Also, they may ask for your resume. I'm pretty sure they ask for my resume, so that's something that you want to make sure that's up to date and it has all the important information. I did a one-page resume because I just finished undergraduate. My experiences, I had a lot of internship experiences, but you can still put that into a one-page resume. Now, if you have a lot of prior work experience, it might be longer, and that would be fine too. But gather all of this information, craft a really good personal statement that is tailored to your life at the moment. Don't use some old personal statement you wrote in undergraduate, because you're no longer there. It's a reflection of who you are at the moment. And when I started writing my personal statement in 2022, it was who I was then, but I think I submitted my application like early 2023, and I still made the changes because I was no longer exactly who I was. A few months later, things had changed in my career, and so I wanted to make sure that that is reflected in my personal statement. So gather all of these, and then you'll be ready to get to the next step. which is to submit your application before the deadline, tracking all of the application due dates for every school that you're applying to. I only applied to 2 schools because I didn't want to waste money applying to so many schools. There's something called an application fee, and typically they're over $75 per school. So you want to make sure that you're not just applying to a ton of schools and just throwing darts and hoping one sticks. Instead, make sure that you put your all into each and every single application and submit it before the deadline. This will also make sure that you will be able to start the school at whatever term that you want, let's say fall or spring semester, but then also qualify for a lot of financial aid. So don't wait, apply in time. After your application, some schools would interview you depending on the graduate process. I know for a lot of medical students, which for them going to medical school is their graduate school, as well as some lawyers and other professions, and even some engineering schools, they will interview you. I, on the other hand, did not get an interview, mostly because the schools that I applied to and got accepted in, they already kind of work with my company. And the school I ultimately went to, they have a program dedicated to engineers and my job. They had a cohort, so the relationship was already there, so they didn't need to interview me. And I already had like good score, good personal statements, everything. So they just like let me in. I don't know to say I got in, so thank God. But if you do need to do an interview, prepare. If it's a PhD program, also prepare for technical questions. And always practice. Practicing is key. No matter the interview, no matter how many times you've had an interview, sometimes you can be a little rusty. So always prepare in advance. Go towards like behavior questions. Tell me about the time you did this, that. Practice those. Go on to YouTube, the internet, and then just look for sample interview questions and practice. Have somebody practice with you if you need to, so that they can ask you the questions and you will answer. Also draft the questions. Here's something that nobody talks about. So you can write a hypothetical answer for a hypothetical question. If they ask you, you kind of know the structure of it. You don't need to memorize it, but you know the structure in which you're going with. After the interview, and even prior, you can start exploring your financial aid options, or how are you paying for college. Graduate school can be very expensive. I know my program is very expensive, and luckily I have 2 methods of payment, one through my job and the second through the school, because I applied in time and I had good credentials, so I was offered a scholarship to cover up to a certain amount. So I'm very lucky in that. But even when I was in undergrad, I did not have that. So I applied to about 200 scholarships between my senior year of high school and my senior year of college, and I was able to graduate debt-free. So it's very possible. Look for work-study options. Are you going to be paying from your job? If you're going full-time, part-time, I'm going part-time because I'm working full-time. So that's how I'm able to also get the tuition reimbursement for my job. But make sure that you know how much, if your job is paying, they're going to cover, because they may not cover all of it. So my job gives only up to a certain amount, so I can only take a certain amount of credits per year, and then the scholarship will cover the rest. So there's a lot to navigate that is more complicated than, say, undergrad, in my opinion. But find out what works best for you, apply for scholarship always, and do your best to graduate debt-free. When you have all of these things figured out, now it's time to make a decision of which to accept. For me, it was super easy because I only applied to 2 schools, and my job already had a stronger relationship with one of the schools. The cohort program, taking classes in person, it was catered to my schedule. They already had a good program that had been going on for years. This is exactly what I want, so I went with that program. But for some people, it might be more difficult, also because you may have to move. How much are these schools giving you? Your funding, which one can you afford versus which one are you gonna have to take out loans for? So all of these come into play, and it's important to make all those decisions and weigh them out. Make sure that you're not just going to a school that gives you the most amount of money, but rather the school that you're gonna pay the least out of pocket to. 2 things can be true at the same time. It could be true that one school is giving you, say, $50,000, but then you're gonna have to pay another $40,000 out of pocket, versus a school that's giving you $20,000, but you're only gonna have to pay $5,000 out of pocket. Schools cost different amounts, so pick which one works best for you. Also, you're gonna have to move. For me, I didn't have to move because I live here, work here, all of that, so I wasn't gonna move anyway. I applied to schools that were within a certain mileage of where I live, and that was a great decision on my part. So weigh all of these, which is more important than the other, and then make your pick. Once you make your pick, it's time to accept it, formally accept it, and then enroll. You will do this by enrolling in the school officially, because you can't just take the offer letter and not formally accept. Show up and then think, oh my God, like, where am I supposed to be? So formally accept, speak to your advisor or whoever is guiding you to make sure that you are ready to take the classes that you need to take, your estimated time of graduation, all the information that you need in order, your financial aid is in order, and everything. You just want to make sure that that enrollment period is really done, because it's just the one time you probably have to do that, and then you'll be able to have a smooth transition into starting classes and then moving towards completion of your degree. And then after that, of course, start your preparation. If you're going to have to move, when is the best time to move? Are you having to find apartments? Are you going to live on campus? Making all those preparations, as well as the materials you need for school. Luckily for me, I didn't really need much. I only needed like a computer, which I already had, and I needed a book. I didn't even need a notebook. I just needed some pens. But I did have to prepare by finding out the parking situation at the school, because I drive there, how long I'm going to have to drive, which is about an hour each way, my schedule, just to make sure that I get there in time. They have breakfast there, so that was great. They have lunch there, but if they didn't, I'll have to find a way that I'm going to navigate that as well. So it was just finding out all the relevant information to make sure that that transition is smooth and I'm prepared for my classes. I also had to navigate the grading system. In my undergrad, we used Blackboard, but then in my school, we use Canvas. So, you just have to get used to all of those. Set up any type of accounts that you need to, and keep track of all the information, all the emails, so you're prepared for the first day of school. And the last but absolutely not the least is orientation, and then start your classes. Orientation is always good to attend. I attended my orientation. I'm glad I did, because it gave me a chance to ask questions, to meet my classmates that I was going to be in a cohort with, know what to expect. I was really excited. I knew it was going to be tough, but I got all the dates, the expected time of graduation, how many classes I was going to take per year, how much it was going to cost. All that information was well laid out. And because they do have a history with people who work at my job, I already knew that this was a tried and true method. So I was really grateful for that. But attend your orientations. Don't skip out on it. When I did my orientation, I didn't know what time school was started, and then they were like August 4th. And I was like, oh, that's literally like a month. I didn't know. And that's why I found out that classes were 10 weeks. They were accelerated, and I was gonna have to take 2 of them back to back, and all of this information that I was like, no, this is a lot. Anyway, I'm glad I still attended. It just gave me a good perspective on what to expect, and I'm happy about it. And just remember that graduate school looks different for everybody, whether you're in person, whether you're taking online, whether you are going full-time, part-time, whichever degree field you're picking, it's gonna look different for all of us. So don't be too hard on yourself. But hopefully these steps help you to understand what to expect, and makes your process much easier, because that's what I aim to do. I go through the thing, I want to share it so that hopefully your process will not be as challenging as mine, which mine wasn't that bad. I'm actually really glad about everything that I went through. I'm currently in my 2nd semester of my graduate school program, and I have already completed 6 credits. Can you imagine? And time is moving by. That's the important thing to know. Time is moving by, so if you want to start your graduate school, do start at least the process, because you will blink and time would have gone by. Had I not started in fall of 2023, I was first thinking, okay, let me push back to fall of 2024. I'm glad I started. So with that, I'm ready to turn in. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. And if you enjoyed this video, watch another one. I have several videos on education, and I recommend you listen to a video about how I went to college debt free, as well as the truth about getting $1 million in scholarship money. Watch them and let me know what you think, and leave in the comment section, are you in graduate school? What was your graduate school process like? I'll be sure to read all the comments and respond to them. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.